Namaskar, this is BRICS Bharat bringing you an in-depth special report on India's dignified yet firm response to global rhetoric. In a statement that sparked global debate and domestic consternation, the President of the United States made a controversial remark calling the Indian economy a dead economy and further suggested that India needs to rely on oil from its neighboring countries to stay afloat. The statement, widely seen as diplomatically unbecoming and strategically miscalculated, has triggered a wave of condemnation across Indian political, economic, and intellectual circles. More importantly, it has catalyzed a renewed articulation of India's trajectory of resurgence founded upon self-reliance, scientific innovation, infrastructure expansion, and long-term vision towards becoming a global economic powerhouse by 2050. A caution to the United States: do not underestimate resilient nations. India, while maintaining diplomatic decorum, issued a subtle yet clear warning to the United States leadership. No nation, whether sanctioned, tariffed, or strategically sidelined, should ever be underestimated. History has repeatedly shown that countries once marginalized emerge with far greater self-reliance and resolve than ever anticipated. India is not merely weathering challenges, but transforming adversity into innovation. India underlined that the day may not be far when the United States, owing to its escalating unilateral tariff regimes and strategic overreach, may find itself compelled to trade within its border, isolated by former allies and challenged by its citizens' demand. A renewed aspiration. India's strategic trajectory towards 2050. Undeterred by proactive rhetoric, India's leadership has responded with composed determination, unveiling a national blueprint that balances ambitions with dignity. Under the vision of Viksit Bharat 2050, the nation has inaugurated a comprehensive developmental framework anchored on 5 foundational pillars: economic growth, energy independence, scientific advancement, inclusive infrastructure, and digital autonomy. Economic expansions with equitable growth. India's GDP, currently the 5th largest globally, is projected to become the 3rd largest economy by 2028 and aim for number 1 by 2050. Contrary to the US President's remarks, the Indian economy is among the fastest growing major economies, with a compound annual growth rate of over 7% over the last decade. Structural reforms in taxation, digitization, startup promotion, and industrial liberalization have made India a magnet for foreign direct investment even amid global economic uncertainties. India has initiated precision target policies under the Jan Samriddhi Abhiyan to address per capita income disparities, focused on urban-rural income convergence, skilling, and employability. The national focus on demographic dividend remains central, leveraging India's youth, the largest under 30 population on earth, to power its ascent into high-income status. Energy sovereignty and resource independence. The assertion that India must buy oil from its neighbors betrays a dated understanding of India's energy matrix. India has announced a forward-looking energy agenda to reach fossil fuel disengagement by 2040, seeking a 70% reduction in its usage of standard hydrocarbon-based fuels. To reinforce its enduring energy independence, India is advancing a systematically planned trajectory that includes implementing green hydrogen solutions, developing extensive solar energy zones, expanding nuclear power capabilities, and cohesively integrating biofuels into its national energy framework. Additionally, the Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been expanded to 90 days capacity, and trade agreements with diverse partners have made India less susceptible to geopolitical energy blackmail. Strategic cost of duality and militaristic overreach. India's response further highlighted the diplomatic and economic fatigue visibly setting in across the European Union and other US allies. The policy of strategic dualism, deploying missile systems and defense assets in international waters under the guise of global security while expecting other nations to bear the physical burden, is unsustainable. Nations like India do not condone the use of foreign soil and sovereign waters for militaristic display at another's expense. The European Union will inevitably re-evaluate its defense collaborations when the cost of satisfying the strategic appetite of a distant ally begins to outweigh the benefits of peace and autonomy, a senior Indian diplomat remarked. Infrastructure and urban renaissance. The government's PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, a $1.4 trillion infrastructure initiative, integrates rail, road, air, and digital logistics with AI-backed resource efficiency. By 2045, India will construct over 15 new smart cities, revitalize over 1,000 urban clusters, and introduce hyperloop corridors. Moreover, India's national water grid and river regeneration missions are restoring ecological health while securing irrigation and drinking water needs, a cornerstone for agriculture and public health. Tariffs may trigger domestic strain in the US. India also expressed concern over the increasing trade tariffs and economic barriers the United States has imposed on India and numerous trade partners. While intended to preserve national interests, such actions may ironically lead to domestic supply chain crisis, inflationary shocks, and erosion of consumer confidence within the US itself. The indiscriminate application of tariffs threatens the availability of essential supplies for the nation's citizens. While trade barriers may offer monetary relief, they result in enduring detachment. No country can prosper by turning mutual economic reliance into an instrument of pressure, the Ministry of External Affairs noted in an official communique. Science, technology and innovation as national ethos. India's scientific community has risen in stature, not merely in ISRO's landmark lunar and solar missions, but across quantum computing, semiconductors, space defense, AI governance, and bioengineering. The National Quantum Mission launched in 2024 aims to place India among the top 3 nations in quantum computing by 2035. India has evolved into a global biopharmaceuticals hub in healthcare, while its nation AI stack is pioneering ethical and inclusive artificial intelligence across sectors. Respect is earned, not solicited. India's leadership also highlighted the stark contrast in international reception between the Indian Prime Minister and the US President. Across continents, from East Asia to Middle East, from Europe to African Union, Indian Prime Minister has been received with state honors, conferred with prestigious international awards, and hailed for India's proactive diplomatic engagement. True statesmanship lies in the ability to unify without coercion, to influence without imposition, and to be honored without solicitation, said a senior Indian official, subtly referring to reports that the US President has been actively seeking nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize, a pursuit seen by many as unbecoming of a head of state. Stability in external relations, fortitude in national autonomy. India's response to disparaging statement made by the US President was firm, yet composed, reflecting a mature and experienced approach to global diplomacy. Speaking from the iconic Red Fort during his address preceding Independence Day, the Prime Minister reaffirmed the nation's unwavering commitment to dignity and national interest. India does not need validation from those who measure power only by past glories. Our resolve lies not in words, but in what we build for our people, planet, and posterity. India has summoned the US ambassador to convey its formal objection while reminding the global community of the mutual respect that must underpin bilateral ties. Debunking domestic negativity, a message to the opposition. As global adversaries question India's trajectory, sections of the domestic opposition have been accused of amplifying external criticism for political mileage. However, in light of the national interest, India's ruling leadership has appealed for constructive criticism over ideological theatrics. Economic think tanks like Niti Aayog and independent bodies like Brooking India have affirmed that the economic fundamentals are resilient and reformist. The public too has shown confidence as evident in booming MSME sector participation and the surging digital economy. The road to 2050. India's inevitable ascent. India's Vision 2050 surpasses the bounds of political agendas. It represents a far-sighted civilization pledged towards comprehensive national advancement. This progressive roadmap foresees India's positioning itself as a global frontrunner in economic output and individual income levels, firmly supported by complete independence from foreign energy reliance. At the heart of this aspiration lies in the development of world's most extensive and capable talent base enabled through equitable access to quality education and skill building opportunities. The vision also incorporates nationwide digital inclusion and widespread proficiency in artificial intelligence, ensuring that technological empowerment reaches all population segments. Concurrently, it affirms India's commitment to leading in environmentally responsible development grounded in sustainability, adaptability, and ecological integrity principles. Final word. Rising about rhetoric. India will not be provoked into undignified exchanges. Instead, it will answer cynicism with creation, arrogance with aspiration, and insult with achievement. As the world watches, polemics will not define India's destiny, but the silent roar of 1.4 billion dreamers building the world's most inclusive, innovative, and indomitable republic. As one seasoned foreign affairs commentator put it, while some seeks to impose, India seeks to inspire. And in this century, inspiration will outlast intimidation. You have been watching BRICS TV Bharat, which echoes the spirit of ascending India, composed in diplomacy, unwavering in purpose, and undeterred by provocation. Stay with us for continued coverage as we journey towards India's transformative vision for 2050 and beyond. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind.